Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to 3 days of playing with entities, a taste of playing with entities. My name is Amy Shine, and some of you know me, some of you might not. I'm a Talk to the Entity facilitator and an Access Consciousness facilitator. And today and for the next couple of days, I'm going to be doing kind of little quick videos with tools to start actually having a different reality with entities. So let's start with what is an entity. So an entity is you. You're an entity. I'm an entity. Anything that is defined is an entity. This cup is an entity. And everything has a consciousness of its own. And we then have entities that are more like ghosts, like people who have been in bodies, and beings have been in bodies and left their bodies, and now they're more of a ghost entity. But you don't have just those type of entities. There's all different types of entities. There's light beings of consciousness, there's nature spirits, there's demon energies, there's what else? There's like smoke entities. There's so many different types of entities, right? So it's like this whole it's called the spirit kingdom, really. So it's like the spirit kingdom is, it's really hard to define. There's so many different energies that are part of the spirit kingdom, and you're part of the spirit kingdom, and I'm part of the spirit kingdom. But if you live in a world that doesn't acknowledge the spirit kingdom and acts like the spirit kingdom doesn't exist, you end up creating a lot of sickness. So a lot of people with mental illness, a lot of people that get depression, anxiety, voices in their head, a lot of times it is entity related. It's their awareness of the world of entities. And we don't have education here, and we are not educated in the world of spirit awareness. In actual fact, our education, it tends to be quite warped. And it's funny, I just read a question from Max Zwick. He is Shannon O'Hara's partner, and Shannon O'Hara is the creator of Talk to the Entities. And his question was, where was your first education about entities, like about ghosts? Like, where did you first learn about ghosts? And a lot of people wrote down that movie, Sixth Sense, Ghost. There was another movie a lot of people wrote. And it was interesting because the movies that people had seen first, like their first experience of anything got to do with ghosts, those movies were all movies that were like fear-based and didn't have any lightness around them. So the whole point of me doing this playing with entities for 3 days is I would like us to get to the point where we don't make entities so heavy and so significant. When I first found the tools of access, and I have had spirit awareness since a young child, and when I got to my teenage years, I didn't have any tools to deal with it, or to manage it, or to have more ease with it, and I ended up with mental illness. I ended up psychotic, and I ended up being put on medication. And I would really love to create a world where we don't have to do that, where there is a different choice. And when I first found the tools of access, some people around me were making entities really significant, and it turned me off. I wanted nothing got to do with it. I was like, I don't want to deal with that. People are making it so heavy, so significant, and I didn't realize that it didn't have to be like that. So let's do this. So all the definitions you have of entities, all the conclusions you have, and everything you learned from TV, from movies, from stories, that was not true. Can we just try and create it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, only sure it's boys, me, ants. And someone has a question. Irisima, your question is something that is not for a Facebook Live video. That's something that you can address in a Talk to the Entity class. So if you want to get more into knowing more about the different types of entities and working with the different types of entities, then I would encourage you to take the 2.5-day Talk to the Entity beginning class, where it can address all those questions. Today we're just keeping it at the start, which is playing with entities. And how do we even start to play with entities? How do we start to have ease with entities? Is you first got to undo the points of views you have and where you got your entity education from, which a lot of us was books, stories, movies, and a lot of these books, stories, and movies made the world of entities and ghosts heavy, significant, scary, and something to fear. And fear is never real. Fear is always a lie, and fear covers up your potency. So everywhere you bought the fear of entities and ghosts from everyone around you, including all the stories you were sold, all the stories that were told to you, all the movies you watched, can we now destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all night shorts, boys and meons. Okay, Lawrence wrote, I love entities, the topic. I've transformed my allergy just by allowing them. That is brilliant, okay? That's a brilliant awareness. A lot of you will have entity awareness. You'll have signs of entity awareness. And I have a video on that on my YouTube, signs of entity awareness. For some of you, it might be itchy skin, it might be allergies, it might be anxiety, it might be not being able to sleep, insomnia. Signs of entity awareness show up in all different ways. And when you start acknowledging your entity awareness, and this is why the 2.5-day beginning class is so life-changing, is because you actually get all the tools to start clearing, communicating, and receiving entities. When you start engaging with the tools of Talk to the Entities, a lot of this stuff, allergies, anxiety, not being able to sleep, depression, all that stuff, a lot of it goes away. And so, but it happens when you start having allowance for your awareness and you start using the tools, not trying to ignore it. And so what I've found is a lot of people want to get rid of entities. They're like, get rid of them like they're bad. They already have a judgment. But are entities really bad? Are entities good? Or are they just energies that are part of our world? If you leave your body today, say your body dies, you leave your body, you're an entity without a body. Right now you're an entity with a body. Does that make you good, bad, right, wrong, or it just is? So if you leave your body and then people around you are trying to get rid of you, ignore you, push you away, how would you feel? How would you be? Would it be easier if we actually included the spirit world instead of trying to reject it, ignore it, get rid of it, or pretend it wasn't there? So right now, how about this? How about you just push down all the walls and barriers you have in your world to the entity world, to the world of spirits. Whew. Everywhere you put up those walls and barriers because you decided it was too much to deal with, you couldn't handle it, the people around you couldn't handle it, push down all those walls and barriers. Just relax your body. Just say hi to the spirit world. What if there was nothing to fear? What if there was nothing to figure out? What if today actually there was nothing even to do? Just keep lowering all the walls and barriers, keep melting, keep relaxing. And just say hi. Say hi to everything you're aware of. So many times we think, I have to clear all the entities around me. I have to do all this work. I have to get rid of them all. But what if instead today we really played with just saying hi? Just acknowledging what you're aware of. And today, what if you really played with lowering all those walls and barriers you've put up around you to the spirit world? What are you aware of? What energies are you aware of? What energies have been trying to get your attention that you've been ignoring? What can you be here? Not what you can do, not what you have to say. What can you be here? And increase the space of your being. Increase the space of your perceiving. Increase the space of your knowing. Relax some more. Let your mind slip away. And anywhere you're trying to see this, anywhere you're trying to have your awareness through your eyesight, can we just try and create it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pat and pock, on shorts, boys means. Awareness doesn't come through your eyes. Perceive the energies. Perceive the spirit world like you did when you were a child. As a child, you played, you had curiosity. The spirit world was communing with you all the time as a child. And how old were you when you cut that off, when you erected the walls and barriers, when you separated from the spirit world? And go back to that age now. Whew. And melt those walls and barriers. And ask to have that play and have that communion you had with the spirit world again. Whew. As a child, you didn't figure it out. You didn't have to see it through your eyes. You didn't have to think about it. As a little child, a young child, you had a communion with all worlds, physical, spiritual, all realities. There was no separation in your world. You didn't have that fear. Go back to a time where there was no fear in your world. You didn't think about it, you just beed. You played with everything around you. All energies were included in your world. You did not discriminate, you did not separate, and you did not judge. And ask to have that again. Ask to have that inclusion you had again. That play and wonder you had as a child a young child before you started thinking, before you started judging. And today, as you go out in the world, have that wonder and play. Include all beings. Include the spirit world. Notice when you go to your head. Notice when your walls and barriers come up. Notice when you contract and melt. Lower the walls and barriers. Melt some more. And say hi. Today we're going to practice just saying hi to the spirit world. Just being present with it. Not having to do anything with it. Just be with it. Okay, guys? So play with that today. If you have any questions, let me know. Tomorrow we'll come back. Tomorrow I'll be on a bit earlier at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a second video. Whew. Go into your day. Go into your evening. Walls and barriers down. Being present with the spirit world. Not having to do anything. Okay, guys. Thank you for being here. See you tomorrow. Bye.